All right, what's going on? Time for the locks of the week here on Iowa Everywhere. I'm doing way too good. All right, I'm 3 games over 500, couple weeks into the season. I'm getting a little bit arrogant here, so you may want to fade me. But I'm very aggressive this week. We're putting our chips all in. We're going. When you get ahead in life, you don't tap the brakes. You keep pounding. You keep chipping away. That's what we're going to do here, week 3, with the locks. Let's start off with Alabama. All right, listen. Tough game last week on the road at Texas. They nearly lost. That's more the reason to love Alabama taking on one of the worst teams in all of college football this week. I would hate to be Louisiana Monroe, specifically coming out of the gate. Right now, you can get minus 12 as the first quarter line. Bama leads this thing 28-0 after the first quarter. I didn't even play the total. I saw it at circa at 48. I'm on that as well. I love this first quarter line, though. Minus 12, Alabama. They're up by 4 touchdowns after the first quarter, folks. That, my friends, is a lock. I don't do what I'm about to do very often, and that's include Iowa State in a lock segment. There's just too much pressure. Too much pressure. People be like, Williams, you know too much. You can't miss on this one. Well, Bloom tipped me off to this on Monday night, and the number is sinking like a rock. 47.5 is the number with Ohio coming to town. Ohio defense, let's be honest, they suck. Offensively, this is the best offense Iowa State has seen all year. I still have some questions about Iowa State's defense. It would not surprise me if Ohio scored 14, 17 points in this football game, especially some garbage time stuff. John Haycock working on a few things, getting ready, a little Big 12 play next week. Baylor coming to town. I don't think Iowa State's offense gets stopped, though. I think that looks a lot like the SEMO game. I think Xavier Hutchinson's going to get open. He could have a 2-3 touchdown game. I think Jairell Brock might break one. Iowa State's going to put up points in this one. 47.5. Again, that is sunk. Folks, this thing's going over. This thing's going over that. 47.5. We're taking the over. Iowa State and Ohio. That's a lock. We'll go back and hang out in the Big Ten, shall we? On the road at Auburn is Penn State. Now, Penn State played Ohio last week. I'm going to give a shout out to my cousin Tara, her new husband Nick. I married them last week. Penn State grads. Listen, I don't know how much you guys have been paying attention to Auburn. This pick has more to do with Auburn than it does with Penn State. Total dumpster fire down there. Complete and total dumpster fire. They should have never hired Brian Harsin. All right, it was a horrible fit to begin with. You don't bring a guy from the West Coast like that. Not even the West Coast, like the freaking mountains up there, right? It was never going to work there. The boosters hate him. The athletic director quit. They've all tried to get the guy fired. He's a dead man walking. They're barely beating crappy teams at Auburn, and you think that they're going to show up and beat Penn State? I know it'll be a ruckus atmosphere. I get it. Penn State's just simply a much better football team than Auburn is. Chaos. That's the key word with this game. How much chaos can Auburn really handle? They're not focused on football. Penn State is. I'm not that crazy about Penn State, but usually when you look at a line like this, if it smells the way that this one does, there's usually a reason. I'm taking Penn State. I'm laying the 3. Feel very good about this one. Let's lock it up. Nittany Lions for lock number 3. Been confident about this next one for weeks now. I'm pulling a Kirk Ferentz here. I'm being very stubborn. Before the season started, I said Oklahoma will go to Lincoln on September 17th and lose. I've been very bearish on the Sooners and Brent Venables when it comes to this year. I wasn't ever bullish on Nebraska, but I tell you what, I feel a lot better about their chances now that they fired Scott Frost. I think the Huskers rally. Listen, this is not a team that gets blown out. They're always in close games, and that's why Frost is out of there, because they can't win a gosh darn close game. I don't think Mickey Joseph being the head coach is going to change that. Don't we see this being a one-score game? Listen, I'm no longer steadfast that this is going to be this massive upset. In fact, I would probably pick Oklahoma to win the game outright, but hell no, they're not going to go in there and win this thing by 3 or 4 touchdowns. I don't buy it. Nebraska plays everybody close. That place is going to be on fire with the Fox Big Noon shown there. I think Nebraska might win this. I would splash $10 on Nebraska in the money line. I know I have. Plus 11? You're giving me 11? Oh, hell yeah, says Stone Cold Steve Austin. Locking up the Huskers at plus 11. Finally, Michigan State on the road at Washington. The number 11 ranked team in the country is on the road, and they're an underdog? Used to ask my old co-host Ross Peterson this all the time. Where do Midwest teams go to die? That's the West Coast, baby. Terrible road trip. If you heard, a lot of the odds makers in Vegas thought that Michigan State was the most overrated team in the country coming into the season. I'm taking that advice. I don't know enough about them, but I'm taking that advice, and I have seen Washington. Listen, Washington's coach last year, total dumpster fire. Got the new guy in. This guy out of Fresno State, I really like him. Solid football coach, and what we're starting to learn is that maybe Washington's players weren't that bad, but again, like Auburn, pretty good talent, dumpster fire of a regime. They got that out of there. I'm not so sure Washington may not be a dark horse to win the Pac-12 this year. If that's the case, I think they start the run coming up on Saturday. Again, why is this line -3? The line stinks. Follow it for a reason. We're pounding Washington -3 over a Michigan State team that is probably one of the top 3 or 4 most overrated teams in the country. I'm not all in on Mel Tucker yet. Great year last year. Now you got to prove it, sir. Washington, -3, locking it up, baby, here on Iowa Everywhere. To recap, we're going Bama first quarter, -12 over Louisiana Monroe. Taking Iowa State, Ohio, over 47. Penn State, -3 over Auburn. Nebraska, plus 11 against Oklahoma. Washington, -3 over Michigan State. There's your locks again. We are 3 games over 500. 2 games in. I'll start doing that. I'll start adding those things up better for you. But we're 3 games over 500. We're feeling really good. And we're going to keep on rolling, baby. Feeling good this year. This is going to be a huge year. This is going to be my year where I bounce back and hit 60, 70%. I can feel it. I got to read, folks. Let's get hot together, baby. Have a great weekend watching college football. Thanks for subscribing and watching and listening and doing all the things that you do here with us on Iowa Everywhere. Tell your friends. I'm Chris Williams, signing off.